Of course, we're talking about relationships, how you can build something very, very successful. I know this is a big of a problem in our generation. People are just like, so how can I last 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years in a relationship? And we all throw this word right, left, and center: communication. When you ask somebody, how can I become successful in this relationship? How can it last? They say just communication is key. But then people want to understand, what are some of the strategies and tips to improve communication between a partner, of course, in this romantic relationship, Nyukabi?
Very good. So first of all, we must understand what is communication before we can pick up the tips.
Yes.
So what is communication?
Mm-hmm.
Communication is hearing what the other person is saying the way they are saying it.
Wow. Hearing what the other person is saying.
The way they are saying. They are hearing it.
They're hearing it. Okay.
You can't afford to translate.
Mm-hmm.
You can't afford to be driven by emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You can't afford to be biased
Mm-hmm.
when you want to communicate.
Okay.
You must clearly hear the other person
Yes.
speak, and then you understand
Mm-hmm.
what they are saying. And how do you find out that you've understood what they're saying the way they are saying it?
Yes.
By asking follow-up questions. Don't assume because I said hi,
Mm-hmm.
I'm inquiring about how you are. Let me give you a practical example.
Okay.
If you call a lady, yes,
Yes.
and you invite her to a cup of coffee,
Yes.
and you tell her, hi, Nyokabi, I'd like to take you out for a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And I turn up and I say, that's fine. Let's have a cup of coffee.
Mm.
I come, I sit down, I have my cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
After I finished my cup of coffee, I leave.
I go.
You see, you did not communicate.
Amekuja kunywa kahawa because ulimwambia kuja ukunywe kahawa.
Kuja ukunywe kahawa.
Eh.
You didn't tell me it was a date.
Yes.
You didn't tell me what was your expectation after the coffee.
Okay.
What you did is that you invited me to a cup of coffee. And you didn't even tell me that you're looking to build a romantic relationship with me. So don't assume just because you've invited me for a meal or for an interaction or an outing that time we spent together means that we are in a relationship. It doesn't. It just means I honored your invitation. Maybe because we are acquainted, we are general friends.
Yes.
I like you, you like me. It doesn't have to go romantic. But if you want to communicate in a romantic relationship, you must be very intentional with what you say and how you say it and when you say it.
Love it.
This is what I mean.
Okay.
Nyokabi, I would like to take you out for a cup of coffee because I'd like to get to know you better. I would like to know things about you. So when we are sitting there, we are not talking about football. We are not talking about politics.
Yes.
We are not talking about religious matters. You're asking me things that concern me because you're looking to know me better. Do you know there are people who date for 3 years
Yes.
and they know you're called Nyokabi, they don't know anything else about you?
Kai.
They date, they get engaged.
Yes.
On the day of the marriage, anasikia mtoto hapo akitana mom. And now
Allah.
you're sitting there, you're wondering who is being called mom. But you've never asked.
Yeah.
For the 3 years you've dated this person, you've never asked, this
Yes.
child I see you with, this child I see in your status, do you have a child? So when you say, I want to get to know you better,
Okay.
then that means I'll become personal. I want to come and get to understand you. So in order for us to communicate, we must not leave room for assumptions. And assumptions make an ass out of both of us. That's literally what assumption is spelled, an ass out of both of us. So you might as well
Yes. Yes.
inquire, clarify. And if you don't understand what the person is saying, confirm. There's nothing wrong with asking questions.
Right.
It doesn't affect your ego.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that you don't understand things lightly. It just means that you want to hear what the other person is saying. Number 2, you cannot communicate when you're looking to answer. You have to listen. Not to answer,
Yes.
to hear. The objective here is to hear. For example, I'll give an example of married people. See, married people are always fighting about who is going home at what time and why they are going home, whatever time they are going.
Okay.
And whoever is coming late is saying, I was working. And the one who is at home is wondering, why were you working until 3 a.m. in the morning? Nobody is communicating with the other.
Right.
Right? Because nobody is listening to the other. And nobody is paying attention to hear the other.
Okay.
When you listen to answer, you've already created the biasness I'm talking about. So you're looking forward to this person to finish osokia. Quickly, umpatie majibu yake, wewe mambo ni matatu. Fuata
Yes, that's the problem.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
But with communication, you have to step back. And then finally, I want to move very quickly.
Yes.
You have to authenticate what the other person is saying.
Okay.
Whether you find it to be valuable or not. Whether you think whatever they are saying is true or not. You have to validate it. Validating it does not mean that you have accepted a truth to be a lie to be a truth.
Yes.
What it means is that I have heard your concern. All right?
Yes.
This is your concern. We will address it. This is where I stand. From where you're standing, you're 6. From where I'm standing, I'm seeing a 9. But ideally, if we communicated, if you came this other side, you'd see the 9 I'm seeing. And if I came to the side where you are,
you see the 6.
Exactly.
Yes.
We've communicated.
Ah.
Yes. And that's the problem. We always want to see the 9 on my side. But you don't invite your partner, hey, si ukuje huku uone kama utaona ile 9 yenye najaribu kukuambia.
Absolutely.
Na wewe si ujaribu kuja hii side ingine. Wear my shoes, hear me out, and let's communicate. Slow down and communicate. Don't address too many issues at once. You will not communicate.
Absolutely.
Pick one. Deal with it. Mpaka ishe.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. And now that we're still talking about communication, and in communication, of course, disagreements are going to come through.
Yes.
And in relationship, this is something that is synonymous with relationships. You have to anticipate and expect arguments here and there. How can couples effectively, people who are about to build this relationship, effectively navigate conflicts and disagreements without damaging this relationship?
It comes back to validation. And what I was telling you, turning to both sides, looking at both sides of the coin.
Okay.
The thing about conflict, wrangles and disputes, that's inevitable because we are selfish. We are created selfishly.
Okay.
We are designed to see things my way and not look at things your way. Right?
Yes.
And not see things, I want you to see what I'm telling you, but I don't want you to see what I'm telling you.
Okay.
So if we put aside me, and you put aside you,
yes.
then we come together and it becomes us. All right?
Yes.
So I validate your concern. I apologize for offending you.
Yes.
Kenyans, we do not apologize. You can keep somebody, a simple mistake as keeping somebody, delaying them, waiting for you for 1 hour. A Kenyan will not apologize.
They will not say sorry.
No. They'll come and tell you,
traffic.
There was traffic. Oh, they'll make an excuse. And if you leave, they'll take offense and tell you, why don't you have patience? But you've waited for 1 hour.
Yes.
They'll never step back and say, my goodness, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I've kept you waiting. They never do. The same principle applies to relationships.
Okay.
You've taken my charger. A simple thing like that. You've left it in the office. So how do you expect me to charge my phone? So when I ask you, where is my charger? You go, I forgot it in the office. I'll bring it to you tomorrow. Ama nikununulie ingine.
That's the long and short of it. Imeisha.
You don't step back and you say, oh my goodness, I've inconvenienced you.
Yes.
I am sorry.
Okay.
I forgot your charger. Start with the buffer before you get defensive. If you want to resolve any conflict, you have to use the words, I am sorry.
Absolutely.
You have to have the ABCs of etiquette. You have to say, please listen to me. This is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
You have to say, thank you. You have to say, excuse me. You have to say, pardon my manners. That was terrible. I did not consider what you're doing. But you cannot resolve a conflict if you don't admit that you are wrong. You have to admit. And you don't have to be wrong because you think that you are wrong.
Yes.
The other person felt that you are wrong. That is enough. If it is enough for you, it is not enough for you, then this person, you don't value them as much as you think.
And you should value them.
You should value them beyond that. And you sit down and you say, okay, all right, that was wrong. I overstepped.
Yes.
Please forgive me. But don't promise that you're not going to do it because you're not Jesus. But even Jesus got upset na kachapa watu kwa synagogue. Try and be human and say, I will disappoint you in this journey. But if you walk with me, we will be okay.
Yes.
But if you keep coming back and saying, I am sorry. The reasons why men have the problems they have is because they never say.
It doesn't come out of their tongue.
Ndio maana akona kafaila amewekewa ka wardrobe pale.
Ya kutoa tu all the time.
Akifanya kakitu inakuwa data la Sunday ulienda car wash 24 hours. Because
oh my goodness. Oh my days.